Last March, my brilliant and hilarious and beautiful girlfriend Natalie suddenly passed away. Everyone always gave crap about us because of politics. We met in college, when we were poli-sci majors. She is very liberal, and I'm pretty conservative. We actually met because we were serving as treasurers for our school's college Democrats and Young Republicans clubs, respectively, and our groups would get together for drinks or bowling or laser tag once a month. Well, Natalie and I bonded over a lot of shared interests, and we hit it off. Even if we didn't see eye to eye on many issues, debating her was stimulating and formed the cornerstone of our relationship. We've had debates that went on until dawn. We just bounced off each other. She liked to joke that we were drift compatible. I wanted to marry this woman, but she passed away before we got a chance to talk about marriage. I'm in therapy, and I'm working through not having her in my life anymore, but it's been rough. Then Rona happened, and I got laid off, so I had to move back in with my parents and figure out what I am supposed to do now. My parents mean well, but they got married really young and are more conservative and religious than me. They've been trying to set me up on dates with single girls from their church since I moved back home. But I don't want to date these girls. No offense to them, but it's a small town in the American Breadbasket. They don't share the same interests as me, and it feels like their only goal in life is to be a good Christian wife and produce a lot of babies. Trying to talk to them about current events is excruciating for me. The girls my parents tried to set me up with take everything they read on Facebook or hear from Fox News for face value. It makes me miss Natalie and our debates more. My parents mean well. I know they want me to find a nice girl and settle down with her, but not like this. They are nothing like Natalie and never will be. I miss her, even if my folks didn't like her ideas. But when I told them the other night that I wanted them to stop setting me up on dates with these girls, they freaked out and told me that I needed to consider settling down, since I just turned 30. They're good girls from great families, I know that, and my parents like them more than they liked Natalie, but she was my one and only. I don't think it's fair for anyone when I still love her. They are even more angry at me because I told them that I just don't see myself getting married anytime soon. But like I said, Natalie was my soulmate, and I just can't see myself being with anyone else but her. Yet, they are insisting that I need to find a woman and settle down and give them grandchildren. Not the idiot. It is so unfair to you. You're grieving, and they're only thinking of themselves. They're really selfish, actually. I hope you find another job soon and get out of there. I think it's totally natural to not want to date any of them. Your parents don't really know you anymore. Truthfully, if your mom has got baby fever so bad, tell her to adopt a puppy or something. Your parents are being unreasonable for trying to force you to fit into their mold and turn you into them. The fact that they're yelling at you for grieving is just so awful. I really hope you get away from there soon and maybe one day find love again, when and if you are ready. Not the idiot. I'm so sorry for your loss. I hope you will find your peace sometime. It does not make you anything to not marry. Don't say you will not get married at all in case you're thinking your parents will get furious. Just tell them right now you are not seeing yourself getting married. Explain to them you're still mourning. Tell them one day maybe you will, but right now, with what's going on with the world, you don't want to worry about one more thing. If you want to throw in your financial situation and the virus, thinking you're an idiot just because you're not giving them a grandchild is really hard on you. You shouldn't get married and have kids just for your parents. No idiots here. I think they have good intentions, and they just don't know how to help. They probably see your pain and think moving on will help. You mentioned counseling, keep going. Try switching things up or seeing another counselor if you find that things have stagnated and you aren't getting anything out of it anymore. Try not to hold it against your parents for their behavior, because grief is difficult for everyone, and everyone handles it differently. You are not wrong to push back and set boundaries, and you should go about your relationship status however you feel you need to. Sorry for your loss. I have a very well-paying job which requires me to mostly work from home with the occasional travel. usually once a month for a few days, to certain locations. As a result, I could choose to live wherever I want, and I chose a lovely big home next to a lake with a ton of nature surrounding it. I am not even kidding. Sometimes I have to pinch myself when I just woke up because I feel so blessed I got to live here. Now I am from a big city, which is where most of my old friends and family still live, and as a result, on a monthly basis, I get at least one person asking me if they can come to see me, which is a different way of saying they need a vacation and want to stay with me. I'll be short, mostly my answer is a simple no, especially if I need to travel during their stay, as I don't trust anyone but my dad and girlfriend to be alone at my house. However, on occasion I say yes, especially if I want to see someone. So my college friend Brian contacted me asking if he and a buddy could vacation at my place for a week as they really need a break, and he wanted to hang out like the old days. I agreed. I haven't seen Brian in ages but still actively talk to him, so why not? And before some of you start about COVID, you can have people over here, and there hasn't been an outbreak here or in the city they live in months. So we agree when he will arrive, and he'd bring another of his college buddies. Well, the day comes, I prepare the guest rooms, and an hour before they are supposed to arrive, Brian messages me that something came up and he can't come. I figure okay then, but I get a message a few minutes later that he got another one of his buddies to take his place. I told him I was not comfortable letting two strangers stay and didn't get a reply. At any rate, roughly an hour and a half later, my doorbell rings and two dudes stand there with their luggage. I say hi and ask them what they want, and they say they are staying here. I say they ain't and tell them to bugger off. They ask me if they can at least stay the night. I say no. Brian calls me later, going out of his mind with anger, claiming I am a giant jerk, and that his friends had to drive for hours, only to drive back home when he told me they would be coming. I told him that I have no willing to let them stay in my house while I see them for the first time in my life. They are just two strangers for me. His friends probably, at least I assume, knew nothing about this, so I feel terrible for them. Your friend is remarkably clueless. You don't know these friends of his from Adam. Your invitation was to Brian and not to the two strangers. You are entirely within your rights to send these strangers off on their own, and Brian was entirely presumptuous to send strangers to your house with this absurd expectation. Tell your friend Brian that just because he wanted to hang out like back in old days doesn't mean random people get to sleep on your couch anymore, probably like back in old days. There is a part of me that halfway doesn't believe your story. Who could be this brainless and clueless? Not the idiot, and good for you for standing your ground. I guess that's a friend no longer welcome at your place. Not the idiot. I'm at a loss how someone can come up with such an idea. Hi, dude, something came up, I can't come, but I found someone else to take my spot. Ah, what do you mean with your spot? How can some stranger take the spot of my friend who I've known for years and wanted to see? And how is it that you only inform me about this preposterous change of plans 1 hour before you are supposed to be here? After a 9 hours drive for your friends who are complete strangers to me? Sorry, dude, but I don't like to be set up so that I must take them in. Bugger off and don't call this number ever again. Ask him how he would feel if you said you were coming to visit the city X that he lives in, then something came up, but you have a buddy that figured he wouldn't mind going to X city and take a look around. So you figured he could crash on the same couch you were going to and send him to his door without talking. That's why his buddies you've never met before never should stay in your home. It feels so strange. Weird how I'm sure the answer switches when you don't own a lake house, eh? Not the idiot. They are adults, they'll figure it out. Just because you have the free space doesn't mean you have to justify why you don't want strangers to fill it. My best friend is 31 and I am 28. She has one child, my niece, not biologically, age 10. I have two boys, age 10 and 5. My best friend is married, makes over $140K a year combined income, has a private tutor for her daughter, and is able to manage her time efficiently because she has a live-in nanny who cares for my niece 90% of the time. Despite all of these luxuries, she complains about everything and is incredibly negative. I am widowed. I work full-time from home and bring in roughly $27,000 a year. My kids are both fully remote. I can't afford daycare or a tutor. It's 100% my responsibility, and no, I don't complain. I just don't have time to do anything besides work and helping my kids with schoolwork. As it is, I have a hard time cooking dinner due to my work schedule, evenings, 1 p to 11 p. Back a month ago, my friend reached out and said that she felt we were drifting apart because we only spoke once every couple of weeks and never hang out. I explained to her that I'm just incredibly overwhelmed right now and that I don't have time to stop my day and make plans to visit due to the fact that I have so much on my plate. She said she understood. Last week, she messaged me again and said that my niece felt like I didn't love her anymore because I never come around. Again, I explained my situation. At this point I was irritated because I felt she was trying to guilt-trip me. She promised that wasn't the case. We moved on. Flash forward to yesterday. She reaches out and I was busy. I told her we would talk later. She then has my niece send me a request on the kids' messenger on Facebook, and she messages me saying, "Auntie, why don't you come over anymore? Did I do something wrong?" I respond with, "No sweetie, I'm just busy." She then said, "Oh, Mom said you were mad at us, and she didn't know why, so she said to ask you." So, I texted my friend and flipped the freak out for lying to my niece like that and making a 10-year-old feel like she had done something wrong when I very clearly explained my situation. She's now saying that my blow-up was unnecessary and that I need to reevaluate the way I handle situations. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, and this woman is not your friend. I understand that there's probably history here, but why would you want to hang out with someone who, in your own words, complains about everything and is incredibly negative? Add to that the fact that she's also incredibly manipulative and tells her daughter things like your auntie doesn't come over because she doesn't like you anymore. I'm guessing she used to be a good friend, but it doesn't sound like she is now anymore. It doesn't even sound like she's a nice person anymore. She's manipulating her own child to guilt you. That's just gross. Not the idiot. It seems like you are just mismatched as best friends. 3 years is age gap, which means you probably weren't childhood friends. Very different lifestyles and socioeconomic bracket, one married and one widowed, so probably not couples friends. I am concerned about your trying to raise 2 kids on $13 an hour. This is beyond difficult, and I hope you have parents, income assistance, food assistance, something, because that is not enough to even begin to make ends meet. Rent alone is half your pay or more. You can't even cook dinner. This is a terrible situation. You don't need some woman harassing and bullying you about getting together. Does she not realize your situation? Not the idiot. I work 2 jobs and volunteer as a youth leader at my church, so most days I leave my house at 8:30 in the morning, and other than a brief half hour in between shifts, don't get home until 8:30 or 9:00 at night. For obvious reasons, this means I don't really get to hang out with my friends that often, but as we are all adults, and they know my situation, they understand instead of trying to make me feel guilty. Your friend is not being understanding at all. My guess is her daughter keeps talking about you, and it is making her jealous. I feel sorry for that poor child and what that woman is doing to her, because this kind of stuff is seriously messing with her. Hi. I'm 26. My ex is 30. Our children are 4 and 4. I made it clear from before we got married that I wanted an equal distribution of household responsibilities. We agreed that he would cook, I would clean, etc., and that when we'd have kids, we'd take care of them equally. It started off fine, but when our kids were born, he just stopped. One day he was tired, and I was cooking, and then that became every day. I left him alone with them once, and he didn't notice when they both separately had soiled their diapers. He told me he'd improve, but it was honestly too late at that point. It just got worse and worse. I felt like I was parenting 3 kids. Some women told me marriage is just like that, but I couldn't do it. Not only am I working from home this quarantine, but I have to take care of 2 small children. This morning they surprised me with very sweet best mom ever cards. I guess quarantine has been rough for me, because they just made me start bawling. I posted a picture of the cards on Instagram later with a big cheesy caption about how all the hardships of parenthood are worth it. I love my kids more than life, they're the best things that have ever happened to me, etc. I got an angry call from my ex a few hours later, telling me that I can't brag about my relationship with our kids while having full custody, saying that it's not fair, and I'm just rubbing it in his face. He also mentioned that it's really funny that I think all the chores are worth it now, but not when I was married to him. I tried to explain the difference in the situation, but he said I could never understand how he feels because I have full custody, and I basically abandoned him when he was at a low point. He told me to delete the post, and I told him I don't have to do anything I don't want to. It was admittedly an immature response, and he called me out on it, but I still haven't deleted the post despite how it makes him feel. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I can see why he's your ex. I remember something similar. I have full care of my girls, and my ex-husband has none. Not even a phone call. I got given "You're the best mom and dad anyone could ask for" card for Mother's Day last year. I cried and posted about it as a story on Instagram. His sister told me Mother's Day wasn't a day to brag about how I do everything and how little he's involved. I told her to eat sand. Deadbeat dads are happy to do nothing, but don't like it when we are proud of ourselves for doing it all. Appreciate the acts of love and kindness your kids are showing you. Don't delete that post, and don't feel bad. You put in the work, you deserve the praise. I'm divorced with 4 kids, and my ex pretty much didn't want custody, is living his best life in a different state, but then cries to me how much he misses his kids, yet doesn't do anything about it. He has the ability and right to see his kids but doesn't. When men become fathers, they need to realize that they have to take responsibility too, and aren't just another child in the house. My ex says he married me because he knew I'd make a good mother, but I often question if he meant a good mother to his children or a good mother to him. Not the idiot. Next time he has an outburst and directs it your way, just inform him that you don't have to tolerate or listen to his tantrum. That you're only required to make yourself available to discuss and work through any issues relating to the children's well-being, as long as it's conducted civilly. If he can't contain himself on the phone, you will take the next necessary steps to go back to court to have a third party set up for communication regarding all things related to the children's well-being. Unfriend him on Facebook. His feelings are none of your business anymore. The only thing that connects you now is the children and their well-being.